Hello, this is Amin, and this is session 53. We have returned with the new session, and in this session, we are going to talk about join entities with each other, and also we will talk about how we can search within the list. And this is the implementation that we had in previous session, and as you can see we had the category ID inside the cost list, and in this session we want to display the name of category which is inside another entity to the list. For this purpose we should join cost entity and category entity with each other, and then we can display the respective category inside the list. For this purpose, first we should create a new view model, which we call it cost list, and it has 5 properties: ID, amount, comment, category name, and payment method. Also, later we add another method inside iCost repository, which we call it get cost list, and this get cost list would return a list of cost list, which is the view model that we create in this session. Later, we change the repository, SQL repository, and also static repository, but we haven't implemented changes inside the static repository. Just we add this method for preventing through an exception. And as you can see, we can join the tables with each other with join method, and we use context and the table that we want to be joined with another one. And let's flip to Visual Studio and implement this part, and then we will talk about search inside the list. As I mentioned, first I am going to view model and add one class. I call it cost list, and then I add the properties that I mentioned: ID, amount, comment, payment, category name, and payment methods. And also I should add the namespace of the enum that I have for payment methods. Next step, I should do a change inside the iCost repository and add the respective method for this purpose. Then I'm going to models and I open iCost repository, and here I will have a method which the result would be a I enumerable, or it could be a list of cost list. I should add its namespace here, and then I call it get cost list. I save the changes, and then first I'm going to a static cost repository, and to stop this error, just I add this method to the interface, but I haven't implemented here. Just I save it, and then I'm going to SQL Server cost repository. And here I try to implement this method. First, by pressing Ctrl and period button, I add the method. And here we have get cost list, and we start to implement the required changes. I create a variable and I call it CL for cost list, and it would be equal context dot cost dot join, and then here I should mention again context and the table that I want to be joined with this one, which is category. And next I should connect the respective property to each other. First I should select the respective property from cost database and cost entity. That's why I mentioned the name cost en, and from cost en I select category ID, and then I should select the respective property from the category. That's why I mentioned here category entity, And from category entity, I select ID. And then I should combine these two with each other. I mentioned here CategoryID and CategoryID, and then I use arrow, and it would be a new connection between CategoryID and CategoryID. Then I can select the property that I need to be passed to cost list. That's why I can use select, and inside the select I use lambda expression again, and here I can select the list of property that I need, and then I use toList method to send this result as a list to CL variable that I have created. But here I can select the property that I need. From cost entity, I will select ID, and again from cost entity, I need amount, and again cell, which is the lambda expression of the select, and then name of table, which is cost entity, that I explain it here, and the next property that I need, which is comment, and then cell dot cost entity dot payment method. And the next one would be category name, and now I don't need the category ID anymore here. That's why I use select and category table and category name. Now we implement the changes that we need to join two entities with each other, and you can do more with this command, and also you can do order or group by or anything that you may need, but just I make it as simple as possible because the purpose of this query is the explaining how you can join two entities with each other. And then I need to create a list of cost list and import the result of this query to that one to be displayed inside the cost list that I have inside cost index view model. That's why I create an object of cost list. I call it cost list. And then with for each loop, I can add this result to the list that I just created. Because I need to add inside the cost list a new cost list. And then I can add the respective data inside this one. As you can see, IntelliSense helped me to do it faster. And then I should return this cost list, which I filled its data here. With these changes, I will receive a list of cost, which we have payment which we have category name instead of category ID. And next, I should go to the controller inside cost controller, and here I have index, and inside index I don't need this one anymore, and here I use another method inside the cost repository, which is get cost list, and I pass this one to view. And as you can see inside the view expect to receive an object of IE new variable cost, but I should change this to cost list. And here I should just change category ID to category name. And I save the changes. Let me run the project to see the result. Project up and running, and I'm going to cost list. And here you can see I have category name instead of category ID. And if I create another one, I still have the category name. And on this way, I successfully joined cost and category table to each other. And now I can use the category name instead of category ID. Next, I want to add a search box in top of this list to enable me to search inside this list. This is the view that I want to be created, which would have a search bar, and I can search based on my category and comment. And then I will have a button for search and another button for clear the search criteria. And you can search by any element that you want, and I will show you how you can do it. First, I need to do some changes inside the index view to have the search box in top of the list, which would be a form, and it is not a complicated things. Just the form would be addressed to cost index, and its method would be get, because I don't want to change the status of the record, and that's why I can use the get method. And also inside the get, you can see I am using the bootstrap classes and one input with text area for entering the criteria that I want. And also I will have a button with type of submit, which submit this form to the controller. And also I have a button which I call it clear search, which just return the web application to cost index. And as you know, when I launch the cost index, I don't have any criteria inside the form, and that's why I use it as search form. I just copy this piece of code and paste it inside my view, inside my index view. Here I'm going to the top, and I will add my form here. And as I mentioned, this form will be addressed to cost index, and its method would be get. And it has a select option, which I can select the category of search between the comment and category. Also, I have an input element for search criteria, and I have a button with type of submit to submit this form, and another button to return the status of the form and the status of the page and view to the initial state, which doesn't have any URL query and search criteria. Next, I need to add some changes inside iCast repository and SQL Server repository, and also a static cost repository. Let's go to iCast repository first. And here I expect to receive two object and two string, which is search by and search. As you can see here, the name of this input is search for, and that's why when I pass it to the controller, I will have this value inside search for object, and also I will have another option here, search by, which its value would be comment or category. That's why I should add these two variable to iCast repository for search purposes. I just add it. And first I'm going to a static cost repository, and I add it to the method that I have here. And as I haven't implemented the list inside the static cast repository, I don't go further inside that one, but inside the SQL Server cast repository, I need to add it here as an input parameter. Then I should check whether search by has a value or search for has a value or not. For this purpose, when I receive the list of the cost, I should check whether the end user passed anything inside the search form or not. First, I should check the value of search by, which passed from the user. If search by would be one of the options that I have here, for example, comment, I should check inside the comments for the criteria that I have entered inside search for. That's why if search by would be equal comment, and also search for wouldn't be null, I'm going to make a filter inside my list, and that's why I replace the changes inside the list that I have created here, and just I search for the text that I have inside search for. That's why I'm going to use lambda expression again, and here I'm going to say search dot comment dot to lowercase to standardize the comment, and I'm doing this method because I want to have both sides, I mean the saved comment and the received phrase from the user, which is saved inside search for, would be equal, and that's why I make both parts to lowercase to standardize the text. And then I say contains. Contains means if a part of this search would be inside the saved comment, I will find it. And here I'm going for search for. And again, I convert it to lowercase. And then I back it to list. I explain once more. I have a cost list here, and with where clause I can search inside the list, and as the search criteria would be for comment, I will search inside the comment, and first I change it to lowercase, and then I'm using contains method, which works same as like inside SQL Server. And also I copied this part and paste it here. And for category, which is another option here, I will do once more these steps. Just here I change it to category name, and this time instead of contains I use equal, because I want to search just for the category, which is exactly same as the search clause. And with these changes, I have implemented the search inside my SQL Server cast repository. The last part that I should modify is inside the cast controller and inside the index. And here, as you can see, get cast list expect to receive two string as a search clause. And here I add the clause which I received from the URL, which would be search by, and another string would be search for. I just have a typo here, and I correct it, and I replace this change with all the places that I use it. And also I should pass these to here, which I need search by and search for. Let me save the changes and run the project. Project is built successfully. And I just refresh this page. And as you can see, I have the search form here. And when I'm going to cost list, I have this option. I can set this site to comment. And here I'm going to search for a record which has comment inside the comments box, and I search it, and as you can see, I successfully find the respective record, and when I click clear search, I will return again to cost index, which doesn't have any search criteria. And next, let me add one record with another category, and here I use it grocery, and I use debit, and I create the record. And now I want to search for the record which its category is bill, and I'm going to search, and as you can see, I find it successfully. And in this session, we first join two entities with each other, and then we implement the search inside the database and display it inside the list that I have. And here you can see the code that I have used for implementing a search feature inside my web application. Thank you for being with us and watching this session. Don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel and like and share this video. And once more, thank you for being with us.